To lead in a world that never stops evolving, you need insights from those who are driving change. Welcome to Breakthrough Innovations, where we bring together the top leaders and innovators who are reshaping their industries. I'm JL Heather, the Principal Executive Coach at Center, and in each episode I sit down with game-changing executives who share the strategies, insights, and challenges that fuel their success. In the next 20 minutes, you'll gain practical takeaways to drive your own breakthroughs. So if you're ready to stay ahead, join us here on Breakthrough Innovations. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Breakthrough Innovation. With us today is Kerry Ritter, the co-founder and CTO of Zipper, an AI-powered marketing platform helping small businesses grow online. With over a decade of experience in engineering and architecture at companies like Microsoft, marketing agencies, consultancies, and more, he is now focused on making agency-quality marketing accessible to small businesses through artificial intelligence. As someone who came from the agency world, I think this is going to be, we're going to have a lot of in common, and we'll have some good stuff to talk about here, Kerry. So thank you for being here, and we're thrilled to have you on the show.
Yeah, appreciate it. Looking forward to chatting.
Awesome. So before we dive in, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your journey? How did you get to Zipper through Microsoft agencies and consultancies? I'm curious.
Yeah, kind of a broad range, like we kind of briefly talked about. So I am one of the lucky few to find out what they want to do for the rest of their life when they were a kid. So I grew up on a farm, and around 12 years old, I went to my mom. I was like, "Mom, I really need you to buy me this book on HTML." And she's like, "I have no idea what that is. I'm a little concerned about it." But so we went to the store and bought like a $50 book. She's just thinking, I hope to God he actually reads the thing. And yeah, I just got addicted to computers, to the internet, to building websites and all that kind of stuff. So I started very young, went to university for it. For a moment, I thought I was going to do mechanical engineering, dropped out of that in year 3 to switch over to computer science, and found out software engineering is a thing you can do as like a career. I just like doing it. So luckily corrected that path at kind of the last moment. Got into software engineering. So I went through working at consultancies, like working small businesses, municipalities, things like that. Went to places where I worked on internal products, so healthcare and things of that nature. Went to agencies where I worked for Fortune 500s. And then my last full-time employment before Zipper was at Microsoft, which is kind of crazy. I live in St. Louis, so Microsoft is, nowhere near me. So to be a kid growing up on a farm in the Midwest to work for Microsoft is kind of a bit of an anomaly. So that was a cool experience. Yeah. And then through all that, I've always wanted to do entrepreneurship and kind of pursue running my own business. And there we got my co-founder back there in the background now.
Nice.
Yeah, so luckily was able to make the jump a year and a half ago now. I've been full-time in Zipper, and that's kind of where the journey leads us.
That's fantastic. I will say, as a 12-year-old, there are far worse things you could be reading than an HTML book. So that wasn't a bad place to start. And
not too bad.
Yeah, it looks like it's carried you a good ways.
Yeah, very lucky.
Now, as I understand it, Zipper being in the AI content generation space and having done that for the last, you said, year and a half, you're using AI to help your customers. I'm curious, what role does AI play internally when you're innovating, when you're moving things forward?
Yeah, it's changed a lot since we started because the tools have evolved quite a bit. And I actually work with some mentees, like I'm a mentor for other developers that are kind of doing the same path that I am of entrepreneurship, but also wanting to be software engineers. And so they bring me all sorts of new stuff that they're seeing. And then I in turn get to learn all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of new tools that really change the developer experience to where it's fully integrated inside of your code editor. So instead of me writing function code, I can kind of talk like a human would to a chatbot, which then goes and writes my code, which a lot of software developers hearing that would be like kind of grossed out by me even saying that I do that. But man, the quality that it outputs these days has gone up so much, and the ability, so we'll probably talk about AI agents, the idea of AI that can essentially self-control and self-direct, that capability has evolved so drastically in just the last couple months or so, that it can realistically, I can talk to it like I'm talking to a junior developer who I need to go do a task, right? Like, here's item 1, 2, 3, 4 of this task. Go accomplish these explicit things, and that completes the job. So for me as a developer, I get to just think about the problem. I joke that it almost makes me plan more than I would have before I used AI, because now I got to think about each step of that prompt. So it's really transformed how I'm writing software, which is a little weird and uncomfortable still, because I'm typing English more than code now, which is the exact opposite of what I got into this industry to do.
Well, and it's interesting. It kind of feeds into those fears I'm sure most people have about AI eating up jobs.
It does. And I think one thing interesting is there's a new tool called Devin that is out. I know of big businesses working on very similar tools. The idea of Devin is instead of you using a code editor and you're the pilot, you are using a Slack chat to tell somebody or tell an AI bot what to do. The problem with these things is they're not there yet. So in 1 year, 2 years, that might be interesting. But at the end of the day, those are still junior level tasks that can probably get done. I think if you're thinking ambitiously, we can do some really clever things, but it still requires knowledge of software engineering. Yeah. You still need somebody at the wheel that really knows what they're doing, because it's really easy after a certain point to drive that straight into a ditch and regrettably have a bunch of code that you don't understand or a product that doesn't do what it should be doing. So there are fears that are relatively founded, especially for the junior level and the college level, that I, for one, talk to folks in that space and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, to be honest, right now. We're still learning. I think these can accelerate, but it can also create a big knowledge gap and a big skill gap that could be kind of dangerous for the industry. But
oh no, I agree. The ball. Yeah. And I think right now there's definitely an argument for a human in the loop, and there probably will be for a long time. But there's definitely going to be far less junior developers needed one way or another. Because I don't know, you tell me if this is true or not. It sounds to me like you can avoid hiring a junior developer to support you to take some of these tasks on because AI is just doing it for you.
Yeah, the tools that we're using kind of inspired what we're doing with Zipper. Like you said, human in the middle, that's where we are today, right? So what we're trying to do is bring immense value through human in the middle techniques while still looking forward to the AI agentic approach, which is kind of self-driven. And I think there still is enough time in between now and then that you need to execute on human in the middle, and we need to focus on that before that end game. So to be honest, between now and then, it's all about getting as skilled as you can until that bottleneck kind of hits. As of now, like I can literally send a task I would send a junior engineer, and an AI tool can get it done for me in 30 seconds while I type an email. It's bizarre.
No, that's crazy and exciting and scary all at once. And it's interesting. So like when you think about AI content generation, whether it's code or Zipper does marketing materials, I think a lot of people see that as a blessing and a curse, right? You know, there are someone that would argue that the internet is being flooded with AI generated content at this point. So how do you see that evolving for Zipper in the market in general over the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, I think video content is going to have a lot to do with things. So thinking about the best content you can make, it's very, very authentic. And the best way to form authenticity is through video, like showing your face, speaking with your voice, being there present as a human. There are tools out there to try to mimic that, but most people either A, you can suss it out immediately because it's just low quality, or B, which is almost even worse, where it kind of seems real, but it's a little uncomfortable and you can't tell if you just like don't like the person, right? If you're like, man, this person speaks so like formally, I feel uncomfortable. Almost worse than just a bad AI. Yeah. So I think that layer of marketing and that layer of authenticity is going to be around for quite a bit longer. That said, 6 months ago, I wouldn't have anticipated the capabilities of AI agents today. So open to being wrong, but I think video is going to be around for a lot longer. Written content, I mean, to be honest, before Gen AI, right, a lot of that stuff was kind of rinse and repeat, very formulaic, but still pulling in, relevant piece of information, which we can now do algorithmically. So a big piece of what we're doing, we, as a marketing engine, know everything on your website, know everything about your FAQ, and know everything about your services. So we are able to have an engine that can write social media based explicitly off your actual business information and not just go to ChatGPT, hey, I'm an HVAC company, write a social post. So for us as a company, that's how we're able to execute on that quite well. And you working on your own, if you build out your own context in some of these tools and fill with all that data, you could do it yourself, but it still takes quite a bit of learning.
Well, in some ways, it's, raising everyone to the average, to the mean.
Yeah.
It gives anyone, I was talking to David Mitchell in a previous episode, and he's a CTO at VML, and he was talking about how the power is if you're a bad writer, you can very easily now become an average writer with no problems. And there's in that. I wonder how long it's going to be before that isn't enough anymore. Like even if you're a bad writer, like you still won't be able to do it. The flip side of that is he was talking about how if you're a really good writer, what this does is it lets you execute a lot faster and try a lot more ideas. And I think, honestly, today that's where where the power lies.
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video about truths and myths of AI, and one of them came up was AI is a better writer than humans. And the answer was, like, from both parties, is kind of like a two-person panel kind of thing. The answer was, like, most people
Yeah.
are terrible, terrible writers. So in that
Yeah.
sense, yes, ChatGPT is a lot better writer, but a professional writer is going to blow ChatGPT out of the water for the foreseeable future. So like you said, like kind of raising the bar of the standard is kind of what these AI gen tools are going to be doing for quite a while.
Which I think from a business perspective, especially a software perspective, can be a really good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think part of this too is thinking about the persona for who's using the tool, right? If you think about the enterprise, the products you are building is to make somebody faster. So you're trying to give a tool to a marketer so they can be a marketer 10 times as fast. But when you think about writing software for small businesses, a small business owner doesn't want to be a marketer who's now 10 times fast at marketing. They just want the marketing done.
Right.
So building your software and building your solution around that premise, you can build the greatest, most efficient software in the world. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to think about it. They just want the problem solved. Like, keeping that in mind as you build these Gen AI platforms, I think is going to be really important. I think we're seeing that more and more.
Yeah, you got to be customer centered.
Yeah.
I think whether it's AI or any solution, you can't lose sight of that. So now, Zipper, you've got a pretty wide customer base in terms of like that small to medium business. When you're engaging with these small to medium businesses, whether it's through in that marketing space, like what kind of challenges are they facing, and how are you helping them get past it?
Yeah, some of it goes back to the last comment of they can have the easiest to use site builder and they're like, oh God, I got to build a site now. And, like actually having to execute on that kind of thing. And that's what we're trying to almost get away from, of the sense that we've now built a site builder tool that's powered by AI and does all this kind of stuff. And that's great. But like I said, they don't want to open up a software. They just want to have the website exist. And that goes true for a lot of the tools that we're building. And so we're trying to find ways to be more kind of futuristic about it and think about, how do we take the experience of the digital marketing agency today and replicate that with AI agents and with software? Like, when I worked at an agency, we would get an email that says, hey, can you go add this to the page? And then we would just go off and do the page. And we're at the point now where AI agents could read in an email, look at the context of its task, understand what to do, and go execute on it. So there's a lot of interesting opportunities there. And the main pain points are, no matter how easy the tool is, they have a business to run. They don't want to do those edge things around marketing, around billing, around, all that kind of stuff. And so we're going to keep seeing the kind of tools pop up in different areas around small business.
Interesting. So when you're talking about kind of the future, are you seeing it where eventually Zipper fills the role where it is basically like Scotty talking into the mouse in whatever Star Trek movie that was, with a head of a company just saying, here's what I need done, putting it down and walk away? Is that the future of Zipper?
I think that's the future of software in general.
That's fair.
That's very much where I want us to be. We talked about the kind of different stages of, I think human in the middle is the present and agentic AI is the future. So we're very much trying to build that journey for ourselves as a business. So a lot of things we've done today are focused around the idea of, we're going to use AI to do a lot of our work for us, but we're still going to be mostly in the driver's seat. That next step to me is to, okay, now how do we fully replicate that experience? Can we give a chat interface where you text as if you were texting your marketing agency, that kind of thing? And I think we're seeing that more and more pop up in the software world of, you're not writing text into a form anymore. You're in a non-deterministic way chatting to a machine that goes off and does work. So that's what we're going for.
If I were an agency, I would be, I'd be worried, because that does feel like a very realistic, not long-term possibility.
Yeah, this isn't a 2030 idea. This is like, 2025, or we're not that far away. But I think the thing for agencies, and I think for a lot of industries, anything that requires an emotional decision is still going to require somebody who's an expert in the field, right? A lot of what we see is that people want reassurance for their anxieties, not so much, like, ChatGPT is really good at giving you all the options, but then it leaves you with all the options to go figure out what to do next. And that's very stressful.
Still have to pick.
Yeah. And so having somebody in your corner who can say, oh, I've seen these kind of things, I would probably go this direction. That kind of stuff is still valuable. And then there's still, in marketing, there's still art to marketing, right? Like, it's still very much non-deterministic. So no matter how good these music generators get, Taylor Swift is still going to go sell out stadiums. Like marketing
For sure.
agencies at that level are still going to exist because they're far and above the standard bar of quality. So I
It
don't
is going
think,
to be interesting.
yeah,
See how those agencies adapt and how they I'll be curious to see what agencies look like in 5 years.
me too. I am very interested in that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Kerry, this has been absolutely fantastic. Before we wrap up, what's the best way for people to get into contact with you, collaborate with you, get enrolled in Zipper?
Sure. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search my name, Kerry Ritter. My website is not unique. It is kerryritter.com. And then you can find us at joinzipper.com.
Perfect. Kerry, thank you so much for this conversation. I could have gone another 15, 30 minutes on all this stuff without a problem. This has been fantastic. For everyone who made it to the end of the episode with us, thank you as well. If you found some value in the episode, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a rating or a review in whatever platform you're listening from. And if you know anyone who's looking for some help in the marketing space, small businesses, send them Kerry's way, send them this episode so they can benefit from it. And then lastly, remember to take one actionable insight from today, apply it, and let us know how it goes, because we'd love to hear about your progress. All in all, Kerry, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who listened. And we'll see you all next time on Breakthrough Innovation.
Great. Thank you.